I'm Ashley Billups, and this is Module 1 over various communication forms. So first, just to introduce myself, I'm Ashley Billups. I teach life sciences at a small school in Northwest Kansas. I am recently married and live in my hometown that is 35 minutes away from the school that I actually teach in. This is my third year teaching at this school and third year teaching in general. And even during this crazy year of 2020, I would not trade my job for anything. I absolutely love it, even on year 3 in 2020. Talking about different forms of communication. So of these 3 options, I use them in the order of oral, digital, and then written. So I use oral communication as often as possible, as this is my preferred method of communication, whether that be with students, staff members, parents, or community members. This allows me to communicate the most effectively without having to worry as much about the tone coming across effectively. I also really value seeing someone face to face. So that's why I put oral as 1. I often choose to talk to someone in person if I have the option or the time to go talk to my coworkers or to my principal in person. I will choose to do that method always first. And then that leaves, secondly, digital is the method that I use the second most, whether this be via Zoom, Google Classroom, or social media. Social media may seem strange, but I am the cheerleading coach, and our cheerleaders have an Instagram page, so this is a way that I communicate through them with the community and what's happening with our cheerleading team. There's also several apps that I use to communicate with different students and with my cheerleaders as well. And then lastly is written, which is the communication method that I use the least. I prefer to talk to people in person, so I usually postpone email writing if I have the option to see that person in person. So that's my order of preference. Looking at all 3 of these methods, they are provided to me on many different levels, so they're given to me from my district. I have time built into my schedule that allows me to communicate with students, with parents, and with staff. So for student-wise, I have 2 different hours of the day, well, not full hours, but I have an advisory period and an activity period that I can call students into my room, or I have set students there with me that I can talk to them and we have time to discuss our needs. And then same with parents and staff, I can use that same time to talk to both of those people, but we also have parent and student conferences that we are allowed to have time built in to talk to those people as well. I also have my own personal computer that is equipped with almost anything I could ask for from my district that makes digital communication possible. So whether that's things like, Screencast-O-Matic, the computer itself, email, Remind apps, many different class tag, all of these things that my district has and supplies for me that allow me to communicate more effectively. And then what I wish I could use, I wish I could rely more on oral communication. In the year of 2020, this really limits me in this option, even with things like Zoom or Screencast-O-Matic, voice recordings, and many others. It is still possible for them to hear my voice, but in my opinion, nothing really beats face-to-face communication. So even something like this is always an option. I've done this kind of thing for my students, throughout the past year, but I really wish that I could talk more in person with my students, or even the kids that I have remote. I would give anything to just have them in the classroom for a day. And then talking about the whole introductions, that's what the 3 articles that we read in this section were all about, on how to introduce yourself and how to do that that's memorable and not just blend in with everyone else. So one of the people we read about was Bloor, and Bloor makes a great point that in our society, everyone's introductions are the same, and if you take out the name, it could be describing any old person. So after realizing this, I don't want to be introduced like everyone else. I don't want to, have the same boring description as the colleague right next to me. So it would be very easy to incorporate this method into my professional life, whether it be for the beginning of the year introductions to my students, describing myself in an interview, or introducing myself to my professional colleagues. After reading this article, I imagine my introduction would be somewhat of the following. Bear with me. So, hello, my name is Ashley Billups, and for as long as I can remember, I either wanted to be just like my teachers or I despised them. This is what has led me to becoming a principal, because I want to help lead educators to continue to inspire younger generations instead of despising them. Whether or not, I feel like this really gives you a sense of who I am and why I've chosen this career path by just adding a couple sentences into my typical description. District policies about communication. Do I follow them? And I hate to say that I don't, but I don't think I do. And as far as I can tell, why is that I don't really think my district has anything laid out specifying how to go about communicating. We have policies, on the chain of command and who to communicate first about issues, and that sense I follow. But, how to communicate just on a daily basis with students or with colleagues or parents, nothing is really laid out other than just acting in a